morning, welcome. I thought because we have a little bit going on today, we would just do a short meditation. Just a bit of a centering to bring us to the here and now. So make yourself comfortable, lower your eyes, take a deep breath, and sigh it out. Take another few deep breaths, maybe bringing the shoulders up and back and down. Just releasing any tension, anything going on in the brain, any thoughts. Inhaling again deeply, bringing in fresh air. And as you exhale, just letting go and softening. We just breathe and we arrive here in this present moment. And just stay with your breathing. Just noticing the breathing, if it's long or short. Noticing the mind. Just allowing yourself to be the watcher. And take one final deep breath in all the way up to the shoulders. And exhale and release. And you can open your eyes. Anyone that doesn't know me, I'm Wendy. Came to Costa Rica about 6 years ago from Canada. And today I'm going to talk about the Buddhist Correspondence course for prisoners, which I signed up for right here in this pavilion in 2019. And I want to start by reading what's on the front of my mentor's manual. It's called Ksitigarba's Vow. Now, Ksitigarba is known for being a bodhisattva of the hell realm. What is a bodhisattva? It's from the Sanskrit word bodhi, meaning to be awake, and sattva, a being. So it's a being who aspires to be awake. But a bodhisattva has another meaning, and it's someone who has reached enlightenment but chooses to stay and help others. So they kind of put off nirvana so they can help others. So that's who Ksitigarba is. And this is what's written on the front of my manual. Ksitigarba's vow. He vowed that he would never become a Buddha until he had emptied the hell realms of all who were suffering there. If I do not go to hell to help them, who else will go? Is the famous declaration popularly attributed to Ksitigarba. No matter what the crime or the karma, he was willing to have a connection with any being and to help free them from suffering. The American prison system is indeed a hell realm. So around 20 years ago, this course was evolving. Prisoners were writing in asking for more information to the Buddhist Association for the United States in New York. They were looking for books, they were looking for materials, they were looking for structure on how to practice and how to study. And friends of Ruthie's, Reverend Richard and Adrian Basca, they started it. They started it from New York, and they put the course together, and then they continued it for some time from Costa Rica, from Atinas. And they're retired now. So currently the course is a joint effort between the Buddhist Association for the United States in New York, who delivers the books at no cost, and a Vietnamese Zen temple in Pearland, Texas. They do all the mentoring part of it. Pearland, Texas.
You gotta be kidding me.
Nope.
I've been there.
You've been there? The course was designed to teach inmates about the life of the Buddha, Buddhist concepts, theory, and practice. The goal of the course is to help a student integrate Buddhist practices into their life to help reduce unskillful states of mind, such as anger and hatred, and cultivate skillful states of mind, such as equanimity and compassion. The course consists of reading assignments, Buddhist meditation, mindfulness exercises. The student receives feedback on a regular basis as to their understanding and application of the material in their everyday prison life. When they complete the course, they get a Buddhist Studies certificate. And like I said, all material is provided at no charge. So there's a big emphasis on practice in this course. Daily meditation is mandatory twice a day, starting with 10 minutes in the morning and 10 minutes in the evening, and that gets slowly increased over time.
What's the fun? What do they work up to? Do you know?
I think they work up to in about an hour.
Twice a day?
Twice a day, yeah, if they can. So detailed meditation instructions are given on how to sit, how to focus, what to do with distractions, and they're required to relate this experience back in detail to their mentor. They're also given instruction on how to practice the 5 precepts, and again, they're asked to explain and describe like how that worked. How did you make that happen? So the emphasis on practice was done for a couple of reasons. First, it was to cut through all the various educational levels of all the prisoners. So you might have somebody with a PhD, you might have somebody who has no education. And they didn't want the books to be daunting for anyone. So you don't have to have a PhD or any education to meditate, as we all know. In fact, in my opinion, I think it's better the less education you have, probably. Second, as we all know, who meditates, that's about the only way through practice to reduce negative mental states and to cut through them and adjust them and reduce them. So it was felt that this part of the course would be the most benefit to prisoners. And this is especially important in the United States, as 65% of all inmates that get released within 3 years go back. So the stats are not good. If the study of Buddhism was to be of value to those prisoners taking the course, it had to result in a change in their unskillful behavior that resulted in their incarceration. So currently there are 83 mentors, 579 students, 27 on a wait list, and 65 graduates. The course takes about 3 years to finish. There's 7 books on the curriculum. I started out with 4 students, I now have 12. Because sometimes when I see that on the wait list, it kind of bothers me to think of somebody waiting. So that's when I usually write in and say, yeah, I'll take a couple more. In the majority of United States prisons, unfortunately, punishment takes precedence over rehabilitation. So one warden is known for saying, to each inmate as he comes in, you're an animal and you will be treated as an animal. And then when they had the idea to establish sanghas, the prison attitudes by prison officials ranged from helpful, in a few cases, to indifference to outright hostility. And especially in the Bible Belt of the United States, in the southern USA. So one of my best students, Samuel, is in Alabama. And when he requested to take the course, his warden said, if you're not going the Christian way, you can rot in hell. Those books aren't coming in. And he wouldn't let them come in.
It's quite a job to get it started.
Yeah. But he was determined. He was already on the Buddhist path before he went in. And we kind of put our heads together. I mean, that goes to the legal department where they try and sort out the legal rights. But in the meantime, his wife, who lives nearby, she brings the books in on her visits, and she types up his assignments. And that seems to be working well. So he was very determined to keep going. And then depending on who's working in the mailroom, sometimes the materials just get put into the garbage. So I have had a student say, hey, where's my first book? I'm still waiting. And I'll check with Texas, and she'll say, I sent it out a month ago, so now they have to send another book because someone's just tampered. So mail tampering is a big thing. So laws guaranteeing religious freedom are routinely ignored or misinterpreted to deprive prisoners of their religious rights. In some cases, prisoners have been told by prison chaplains that if they're studying Buddhism, they're going to hell. But despite the obstacles, they plowed ahead with an expansion of the program to build a sangha. So a database was formed. So if you can imagine, if you're a prisoner in cell block A, and you find out there's somebody in cell block F who's either taken the same course or is looking for someone to meditate with. So that was very helpful. A prison newsletter was also formed as a way to exchange ideas and offer solutions to overcome challenges. And the biggest common challenge to these guys, and I say guys because I've only had 2 female students. The biggest common challenge is the need to seem tough and aggressive so as not to be taken advantage by other inmates, but to balance that with the Buddhist concept of loving kindness. And how do you do that? The second biggest challenge is having their meditation disrupted. So this is the biggest complaint I get from my students all the time is as soon as they sit down, somebody starts making noise deliberately, or making fun of them, or bullying them. And lastly, another challenge is being surrounded by a prison culture where compassion is seen as a weakness. So an inmate begins by filling out a questionnaire about why they want to take the course. So someone may have had some small interaction with Buddhism at some point in their life, and now they genuinely want to explore it. Some don't know why they want to take it. Some just want a certificate that looks good in their file for when parole time comes around. And still others may have hit rock bottom and are looking for a way out of their suffering. They don't know what else to do. One of my students wrote on his questionnaire that he wanted to be someone that his kids could look up to, and he was hoping this course could help him with that. But those that aren't serious get weeded out pretty quickly because it's a challenging course. It's not easy. Also on the questionnaire is their parole date, which I don't usually pay much attention to other than the fact that the course does take 3 years, and if they're going to get paroled in 2 months, there's probably not much point in them taking it. They don't get discouraged, but the problem is once they get on the outside, they have a whole new slew of problems to deal with, and they don't immediately see that this is a good idea to keep it up. So I have one student that was doing very well, and then he wrote me and said, hey, I'm getting released soon, can I still take the course? And I said, absolutely. So I received 2 letters from him from the outside, and I could tell he's starting to crumble. He's in a halfway house, it's noisy, his prison routine is gone. He's having trouble meditating. His friends in the prison are gone. He's now got to look for a job, and he's got to be transparent on his job application that he's a convict. Now, I haven't heard from him in 4 months. That's the reality. My newest student, Patrick, came on board about 6 months ago. And as I was scanning his questionnaire, I stopped dead at the parole release date. It's 2089. So you can do the math. But in his first letter, he was really excited to share with me that we had something in common. Because I'd written while he was waiting for the books, I write an introductory letter. And so he was writing his first letter back saying, hey, we have something in common. So a while back, he was manning the library cart. And as you can imagine from any movie you may have seen, he's pushing this cart down alongside the cells, and he's handing books through the cell bars. Well, this same book kept getting handed back. I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want this. So he finally gets to the end. There's one book left. So he takes it in his cell, reads it. It changes his life. It's the same book that changed my life, which is Awakening the Buddha Within by Lama Surya Das. So right away we have a connection.
We had a connection with that. I said, what's the book I recommend most for people just being introduced?
Right.
And it's that book, which unfortunately I've lost my copy. It's gone home with someone. It's one for everyone to read at any level. It's very basic.
Yeah, it's really good.
Could you put that on the site?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
The name of the book?
Yeah.
The thing about it, I'm going to interrupt you. The thing about it is Lama Surya Das is a Westerner. He is an American, and he is still a monk, and
He's Tibetan trained.
Tibetan trained. Well, he's a Tibetan. He's Lama. But he's in Cambridge, Mass. When he writes, the reason it's so accessible, he writes, people forget how current Buddhism is in Introduction to the U.S., so reading the sutras and whatnot was difficult. He writes in a way that Westerners can understand
He does.
exactly what you're saying.
He does.
Talks our language,
He does.
but he transmits it beautifully. So anyway,
He's very good
I
at-
recommend that book. So.
Yeah, it's a great book. Students do not always walk a straight line from their initial interest in the Dharma, as you can imagine. They are faced daily with difficult conditions, a noisy, crowded environment, unavoidable altercations with not so nice people, limited access to materials to support their study. They're being threatened, they're being knifed, they're being beat up, they're being raped. I had one student where they kept taking his books. Every time he came back to his cell, his books were all gone. And they were saying, well, you're a Buddhist, you're not going to do anything about it. I do my best to earn their trust. Most have serious trust issues. They've had either nobody or very few people in their life that have been kind to them. So I got one letter back that said, you know, I wasn't expecting you to be so kind. And he was just like floored. No one had ever been kind to him. So I patiently try and earn their trust. It takes a while. Some come around. Some remain guarded and just stick to the assignments. I give them tips on how to tackle the course, and I stress how important it is to do the practice on top of the book knowledge. Find a way that works for you, that marries the teachings with your everyday life. And I remind them that they have something that not a lot of people have: time. They've got all this time and opportunity. So they don't immediately see that as a benefit. So they've got all this time. What are they going to do with it? How do they want to spend it? Who do they want to benefit from this time and opportunity? So it's a real laboratory, these prisons, for practicing patience and compassion and kindness. You know, if you bump into somebody and they turn around, it's this big burly guy and he's glaring at you, like, what better opportunity to just smile back and say something nice. So they have these numerous opportunities to practice, and hopefully I'm giving them the tools that they need. So one of the first assignments is for them to practice the first precept for a week, which is abstaining from harming living beings, with its positive counterpart of practicing metta, or loving kindness. And one of my students went into great detail. He wrote 5 pages of this whole week. He had, instead of killing insects in his cell, he was taking them outside. He was letting elderly people in the food line ahead of him. He had helped someone write a letter to his daughter who was blind and illiterate. He just went on and on. So I'm like, yes, this guy gets it, you know? And that's why the practice is so important, for them to see the results. One of my students, Patrick, the one with the book cart, he was on his way to his prison job with another inmate, and they were attacked. It's just out of nowhere. So he knows Muay Thai or some kind of jiu-jitsu, and he was quickly able to subdue his attacker. His friend wasn't so lucky. But then he went on to deliver elbow blows to this guy, long after he needed to. The guards show up, everyone's maced, they all go to solitaire. So he wrote me and said, did this violate the first precept? And I said, well, no, self-defense does not violate the first precept, but only through self-reflection and meditation can you decide if you went beyond into hurt. And he already knew he had, and he was feeling bad about it.
That's amazing.
And this is where I've learned a lot in teaching Buddhism, is I don't ever judge them. I don't know what they did. I don't care what they did. I'm just basically saying, here's what the wisdom of Buddhism says. Here's how to understand it. And the rest is up to you. And you keep trying. It's not going to just happen overnight. Him just recognizing that in this fight he went overboard, it is already a step in the right direction. They often have questions outside the curriculum. Some of them really challenge me, and if I don't know the answer, I look it up. And then I try and weave in anything personal, any personal experience I may have on the topic. So one inmate asked about the Buddhist stance on LGBTQ, prostitution, and sex trade workers. Another was having a Sangha meeting, and they were talking about the precept of intoxicants, and his Sangha was completely divided as to whether one drink was okay. Some thought it was, and some thought it wasn't. In some cases, I'm their only Dharma friend. They don't have anyone to practice with. They don't have anyone to talk to about. And in one instance that I know of one of my students, I'm the only letter they get. Their family has given up. He just, so you read something like that, like you're the only person this person has. It's pretty powerful. It puts things into perspective. Many play the blame game and give excuses why they're in prison. My father beat me, my mother was a drug addict, I was on the streets, I got in with a gang. And this really prevents them from growth when they keep playing this game. It can be a vicious cycle. But some break through that, and one of the most rewarding letters I got was from Samuel, who said, in my meditation this morning, it came to me. I got myself here. My choices, my actions. But I also see that I can get myself out. And that's a real breakthrough. It's almost like they kind of go, and it kind of makes it brings closure for that part of their life, and enables them to go forward and get deeper into what the Course has to offer. And that's the kind of letter you want to get. Something's shifted. Over the years, I've been asked for many things. I've been asked for pictures of myself, pictures of my family, pictures of where I live, pictures of my shrine, pictures of my feet. With the pretense of I'm an artist and I like to draw feet. And later he admitted he has a foot fetish. I've been asked for money, for malas, to visit. I've been asked to recommend legal advice. I've been asked to write a letter of support for a parole hearing, which I did. I've been asked to contact the warden because they're being threatened. So I'm reading through one guy's assignment and everything's good, and then the last page he's writing down into the corner saying, please call the Florida State Prison warden. I'm being threatened by the Bloods. And I just give that to the facilitator, and she just kind of rolls her eyes and says, yep, that happens all the time. One more thing. I've been criticized for doing this by a couple people. But I believe everyone makes mistakes. Everyone suffers from confusion. Everyone deserves another chance. And everyone's capable of change. And if through this endeavor, one person is able to transform their confusion into kindness, I think this is what the world needs. So now, questions?
What was the question?
Thank you for your service.
Oh, yeah. I do have a question I never thought to ask David and Richard. When they're paroled and they go out, is there a bridge program or a way to associate them on the outside with wherever the nearest facilities are, or how they can get in touch
Yes.
with the Sangha?
Yes. So
So there's sort of an ongoing
so there's a list of
thing.
local Buddhist centers in that area. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Wendy, is it all by handwritten letters?
Yes. Yes. So it's all snail mail. So they request from the prison. They write a letter to Texas, snail mail. Texas snail mails back a questionnaire. They fill out the questionnaire, snail mail back to Texas. Texas sends the first assignment. New York sends the book. They read the book, or like maybe 5 chapters. They do the assignment. They write it out. Or in Samuel's case, his wife types it out, which is a lot nicer for me to read. That goes back to Texas. She scans it, emails it to me. I do my thing. I email it back to her. She prints it out. It goes to the prison. So it's a very long process.
And then the timing between your letters back and forth as a mentor really just varies on how quickly.
Well, we have a month. As a mentors, we have a month. I never take a month. I usually do it as soon as I get it. So on
Then their next letter, like, are you kind of meeting weekly, or are you meeting monthly?
it depends on them.
Right.
Right. So if it's a long book, they may have 5 chapters to read with assignment 1. So however long it takes them to do that and get it back to me, then they get handed. So when they finish that book, and only when they finish that book and all the assignments have been done, they get the second book. So they don't get all 7 books at once. Yeah.
They really have to be somewhat self-motivated. They're not getting real-time feedback, like, look at that, you got through your first week and then
No, it is a slow process.
Yeah.
That's just that's the reality. Yeah, and there is a big turnaround for many reasons. Yeah.
of volunteers.
No, a big turnaround of students coming and going. Yeah.
And video? Are you talking video chat?
No,
It's only by letter.
mail. Yeah.
It kind of gets
Only by
straight through
that's
that.
So,
It sounds like an incredible commitment. You know, I mean, you can't just say, well, that was a great thing I went through every now and then. I'm interested in something else.
Right.
Because these people depend on you.
Right.
And they're in prison for life. Or
Right.
however long. So
Yeah. It
incredible
is.
commitment on
It is. You know, when I saw the first flyer for it, I don't know, just something really just moved me about it.
Called you.
Something really called me to it, and each assignment I do takes on average about 3 hours. So, because I really kind of put everything I can into it. Because that's all they're getting is this letter. So it might be, you know, but another issue is a lot of the prisons, because of all the contraband coming in, they're going to third-party mail systems. And that's creating a whole bunch of problems, and every state is different. So like the state of Michigan is now requiring that only 8 sheets of paper be in one envelope. It's like, so there's all kinds of obstacles. It's not easy.
Do you find, or do your students find that when they come up to parole that their participation in this counts in the favor, or is there
Yes, so
prejudice against?
I was asked to write a letter of support. So one of my guys had a parole hearing coming up, and he asked for a letter of support. And so I said to the administrator in Texas, I said, I've never been asked for this. What do I do? And she said, well, we have a standard letter we give them, and or you can write something. And I said, okay, well, send your standard letter. Great. But then about a day later, I'm like, no, I looked up his file, and I saw how great he had done over the years and how he'd really grown. And I wrote my own letter about, you know, this course is about changing states of mind. And I can see by his assignments and his detailed description of his practice and what happened that he has changed. Like, I could see the change. And this is what they need to be on the outside, is that something has changed. So
you do get access to their background? And
No. No.
So you're just tracking what his assignments were for you?
Right. Right. Yeah, that's just my one small part. I don't know what else goes on with parole hearings, like who else gets involved, doctors, police officer, I have no idea, but that was just my small part.
So did your letter help?
I don't think it hurt.
Yeah. Never know.
You never know. I don't always get the answers.
So what did you
Yeah.
get parole?
You know,
Or do you know?
you could get easily discouraged with them coming and going, and I just kind of plow forward and do what I can.
Yep.
Yeah.
It reminds me a lot of my 6 years in working with people in the worst treatment center, another hell realm, really.
Right.
You know, in Minnesota, and the average, they had to go through 9 months, you
Okay.
know, to graduate from this program, and it was like 4% of people who made it.
Right.
You know, and those things, and you just continue to do, and surprising people
Right.
who made it. You're just like, no idea that you would be able to stay sober and get healthy, you know,
Right.
enough. The other thing that really strikes me, this is the changing people's mind and therefore, and changing their behaviors, which is both part the practice and the mindset, is very much like cognitive behavioral therapy, where it's like, think different, act different, and you will be different,
Right.
and you will feel different. And so this is, and of the 12 people who regularly graduated, they all said something spiritual. That's how they made it.
Right.
And so this is all contained in this exact same thing.
Right.
It's lovely. And we visited my 6 years of doing that work, listening to you.
Okay.
I have 2 questions.
Yep.
One is there are 2 very wonderful videos that I watched years and years ago on prison Buddhist things, and I imagine they're still available. One was the first time there was a program in the Vipassana
yeah.
retreat, and it was in a prison in India. There was a real hellhole. And they were so effective, they did it in Alabama, I believe.
Yes, they did. There's two
and-
examples.
in the States. And my with authorities to get the programs accepted. But anyway, those two I would recommend
Yep.
if you can find them. I don't know.
One's called Doing Vipassana, Doing Time.
Doing Pasana, doing
The opposite.
doing
During
time.
time,
Okay.
during the
Good,
time.
okay.
Just in case they
Thank you.
mix it up.
Yeah.
During time.
So if any of you have these and links to them, put these
Oh,
on
they're
the.
available for free on
Yeah, they're
YouTube.
free. They're free.
Yeah.
Let's
Oh,
put
they
a link
are?
though on the
I'd
Dharma
like to see
page.
them again. They were really, really good.
I watch that movie at least once a year.
And then I think there's
Absolutely.
another one called Dharma Brothers.
The one in the States.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Very powerful. The one in India, at the end when they all come out, like first the guards take it because they need to know how this is going to work, and then the inmates sign up for it, and then they all take it together. And I'm telling you, they come out, and previously these inmates and guards that were like locking horns are now hugging each other and they're crying, and the tears are just streaming down their face. And
Across race in India.
And across race, and in
it's
India,
like
yeah.
These are untouchable
Yeah.
to one another. And they're,
yeah,
yeah.
very powerful.
exactly.
And that was a very smart warden lady who
Yes.
who,
You said-
who allowed it to come in.
on it,
She she thought it was a great idea. Why not?
Kieran Betty.
Yeah.
Crane Betty.
Now, there are other spiritual programs in prisons. I know there's Bible study.
Of course.
Have you had anybody who has experienced those and notices the difference with what you're doing?
Not really. Sometimes they give me a background as to how they were raised in something different, and how that. We don't, same as we say here, we don't say you need to convert to Buddhism. We just say take what resonates with you. So if they already have a religion but they're interested in this, and this is a very non-denominational program, it doesn't ascribe to any specific practice or tradition. No, I haven't really heard anything of that. Well, I shouldn't say that. Yeah, probably have. I just don't remember. But yeah. They take what speaks to them. And if it happens to, I mean, like my uncle was saying, how can you argue with loving kindness? Like in whatever religion, like how can you, who could put an argue to that?
You can.
It don't matter.
People do.
My mom.
Let's be real. There's a way if you want to argue about something to find it.
I had another
You have two questions, yeah.
Here's the other question. If you would like to speak to Wendy, are you available for meeting with people that might be interested in doing what you're doing?
Absolutely.
Great.
Okay.
I will.
Mentor of the
There you
mentors.
go, guys.
Cool.
And how many like you are in this group? Many only you are. I never heard about this program, so
Like how many programs or how many mentors are in this?
yeah, like
Let's see.
They
I
don't
think you
have
said it at the
anywhere
beginning,
near
didn't you,
enough
I
teachers.
did,
sorry, I was late.
and I've already forgot. Oh, there's 83 mentors. Now that's gone down since I started because mentors get old and they retire or they have,
Burnout.
health issues or they just, whatever happens, like things come up, right?
Prisons over the state.
This is all prisons in the States.
Yes.
There's nowhere else in the world. Yeah, just in the States. Yeah. I did see in the prison newsletter someone writing in from a prison in Montreal. So it may include a bit of Canada. Yeah.
Are there different degrees in involvement? I mean, it's a bit intimidating to say, oh, I'm gonna get involved in this, and then,
Right.
So are there levels?
Not that I'm aware of. You sign up to be a mentor. You understand what's involved.
And you're very protected and supportive.
Yeah,
In other words,
yeah.
you don't get
You don't-
involved where anybody knows where you live, or
No, none of that. They don't know anything about you unless
you don't get personally attached.
unless you share something. So some things I share because I want them to share. So I feel like if I don't share first, maybe they're not going to share anything. So one guy has shared with me lots about his family, his aspirations for when he gets out, and others just kind of remain guarded and they just kind of stick to the curriculum. But degrees of involvement, no, it's pretty much all in.
You get choices about how many people you mentor,
How many students? Yes.
how many students.
Yes.
So there would be
Yeah.
levels.
Right. So I started out with 4. I now have 12. There's one lady that has 100. I don't know how she does it.
She just is writing and reading all the time.
100. Yeah. Yeah.
Wendy, do they ask you to do a minimum?
No, not really.
Okay.
No. No.
So they're, yeah,
You could do
they
one.
have done one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is there anything baked into this for your mental health? Do you debrief with colleagues or anything to
We
get some
have
of this off of you?
we have quarterly mentors meetings where they'll bring up any housekeeping things to do with how you're writing things or how you're saving files, that sort of thing, and then we get a chance to converse with the other mentors.
But what do you do to protect your peace while you're doing this? How do you pass it through you?
I think just the act of doing it is sort of cathartic for me.
So feeding.
Brave-hearted warrior that you are.
I don't know. To me, I love writing. I'm a writer, and I love doing research. If it's not, like I said, if it's outside the curriculum, it's a learning experience for me. And
You don't feel heavy from it.
no,
Good.
I think I kind of got away from that. I mean, the very first mentors meeting I went to, there was 3 of us that were new, and we'd already been through a cycle of like 3 or 4 students, and we were all like, "Oh my gosh, why is this happening? What are we doing wrong? Are we no good?" And they were just laughing at us, saying, "Yeah, it happens all the time. Just get over it. It's
go
not
with it.
personal."
Per vida.
Per vida, right? There could be so many reasons why they drop off, right? So I think I've learned to detach, but still enjoy it. And I don't really look at the outcome too hard because I can't.
That's right.
I just do
If
the best.
only one person,
I do the best I
whole
can.
thing takes. That's wonderful.
That's what I mean. If there's just that one letter I got where this guy had a breakthrough, where he saw that he was responsible, and that's good enough.
And you said, clearly you said every day, that's probably...
Yeah.
In 1970, I got out of college and I was in music. And then it wasn't quite what I wanted, and they developed music therapy for the first time as a degree. So I took that, and my first job was in Oramae. And I went to this facility, and there was 800 patients. And
Hey,
each floor
Kathy?
was a different... I'm sorry.
Holler at me.
Okay, I went to a facility where the people had been there for a long time, had murdered people and that sort of thing. And it was a state-run facility. So the music therapy was once a week, and I would go and do my thing, and it was okay. And I had this one patient that was almost 7 feet tall, would come and sit by me, and her guard was sort of off to the side. And she'd look at me and she'd say, "Hold along the river tonight, Jenny." And she would say it every week. And I was Jenny, whoever Jenny was. So I would take all my musical thing, maracas and everything. I don't know how many times I got beat over the head in the men's wards, especially with the maracas. But anyway, this was like, for me, it was just such an amazing event
Right.
to work with these people. And overnight, Ronald Reagan, at the time was governor, and he closed it down overnight. And these people were turned out into the street,
Wow.
and I forget how many hundred went in the river and drowned. And then it was just crushing.
Wow.
But, quite an experience on
Oh.
top of it.
I'll bet.
Is it a mental institution or a prison? A mental, well, both.
Yeah, both.
They I remember when they
Lot
released.
towards.
Depending on how you look at it.
Same deal.
I didn't know of many people that got okay. Right. I think that's just where they lived their whole lives. Right. Until.
We'll talk with Wendy if this sounds at all of interest to you. It's really, really wonderful. I'm really happy you're doing this.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Wendy.
So humble. But you have so much fun.
And you spoke loud today, so thank you.
Yay! And it wasn't raining.
No. Oramae, come on up.
Thanks, Wendy.
Thank you, Wendy. It was like going back sitting in the treatment center with the prisoners.
I'll bet.
Most of them were from the prison.
It is you.
But they were for the treatment
Right.
portion of the
Okay.
That's you.
same clients.
Beautiful coat. Yeah, okay.
So, Sharon, can you introduce why you want? This was your idea to make sure that Oramae got to present this on Tibetan medicine and her training. Do you want to tell us why, and then we'll turn it over to Oramae. Do you have anything to add?
I like this format. I think this is a great format for all the students and the people who come here who have something to share and that we can all benefit from. Wendy, you, everyone who's come and shared their knowledge. And Oramae has a realm of background, and it applies to Buddhism as well. So I'm really delighted that she can share her knowledge with us.
Thank you. Thank you, Wendy. And I wanted to say, like, you know, the work that you're doing is like, so I've done that kind of work with children in Los Angeles and the carceral systems there and the transitions, and it's intense. So it's the more people like you who are out there is great to support folks who are really suffering in those systems that are meant to keep them where they are.
You know, call it the Department of Corrections. That's
Yeah.
the Department of Corrections. It's not the Department of Rehabilitation.
Yeah. So to have those compassionate systems within these violent systems is really beautiful. And to come back around to like this, so Tibetan medicine, why am I here talking about that today? So I got to Tibetan medicine kind of accidentally. My whole path has been just like following the river a little bit and whatever comes. So I came to one of my primary teachers back in 2017 in LA from one of my students who was invited me to a concert for like mantra meditations from this Tibetan mantra yogini. And I did a training with her back in 2017. And then it kind of grew, and then I met my teacher the night that I went for the concert, who's a Tibetan medicine doctor, and he's a yogi. And he is a Tibetan medicine doctor, but, you know, initially I just did my spiritual practices with him. So, you know, all of the different teachings, and one of the teachers you might be interested in is just Lama Justin Van Wundros. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's one of my teachers as well, and he's Western. He taught at Rikers, and he was in Champlain in Rikers for a long time in New York. And he left that system as well, I think, a few years ago. And I don't know if he's written anything yet, maybe, but he primarily is focused on teaching meditation to people in the Buddhist practice. And all of this to say, like, there's a lot of people in the world trying to do, like, spread, like, these practices out there to support humans that are struggling out there. And some might take it, and some people might be like, not my thing, right? But I think Tibetan medicine came to me because of the work that I do. I work with people with trauma. I've been a yoga and meditation teacher first, and then with the populations I was working with, which is humans that would come to yoga and meditation, people would have trauma. That's what got me through my trauma, was yoga and meditation. And then working with folks over over time, it's like, oh, how do I work with that? How do I work with what's presenting here? And I started getting into the somatic trauma work with folks, and that was because of a girl that was I used to teach in this, it's the largest juvenile detention center in the U.S., and it's in East LA. And it was like 13-year-olds to, children, 10-year-olds to people who are in the foster care system and who are just, getting into whatever situations they're in. And there was a girl that was sitting there on the mat, totally unresponsive, totally collapsed, and I just was like, I want to know how to work with this kind of person. Like, that's the kind of person I'm trying to reach. So it got me to learn how to do that more, so I can do it and understand and ethically do it, because what works for me may not work for everybody, right? It's like, and so I did that and I've been doing that work for like 7 or 8 years now, and then Tibetan medicine came to me because I was like, my teacher was like, okay, I'm going to offer Tibetan medicine if anybody wants to take this, because he teaches in Asia and stuff like this, and I was like, sure, let's do it, why not, like learn this too. And it was a 4-year program, and I just finished like a couple months ago, so I newly finished this program. And so Tibetan medicine, though it is a little bit different, it's a full system of medicine, holistic medicine, like Chinese medicine is, but it's Tibetan. And one of the things that drew me to it was because some of the practices are also kind of linked to like my heritage and my culture, like the medicines that we use, the principles, and all this kind of stuff. And it's interlinked with Buddhism because it's the culture of which it was born from. So it's interconnected, it's not separate. But then it's also specific to the Tibetan, specific to their Bon, like shamanistic religions prior to Buddhism even. So there's all these like things that kind of get intermingled and specific to it. And so with Tibetan medicine, it's basically 4 branches. There's, supporting people with diet, nutrition, external therapies, herbal medicine, and through practices, and lifestyle being spiritual practices. What might be good for them, what kind of yogas are good for them, what types of meditations, what kinds of foods, what kinds of, because from the Tibetan medicine practice point of view, all disease is rooted in imbalance. And all of the imbalances are rooted in the principle Marigpa, and then there are 3 poisons: ignorance, confusion, anger, and attachment and desire. So the whole root of Tibetan medicine is based on those 3 root poisons. So I do pulse diagnosis, urine analysis, I do your face, and then check out things. And so it'll be check your pulse, and then what do you need? Like, I listen to you. What do you need? What are you looking for? Why are you unwell? And then just kind of, is it an emotional root? Is it, how can we support that to shift a little bit, and working with like the balance, right? Bringing things back to balance, things that are out of balance to the best of our ability. Being that I'm not an allopathic like medicine doctor, right?
What is allopathic? What does that
Like
mean?
Western medicine, like allopathic.
Okay, got
so
it.
it's just like the different system. That's like not my background. There's a lot of people in our program that is their background. We have like a whole range of people, a lot of people in the mental health field and all of this kind of stuff who did this training, and so and then there's body treatments. Like, I offer those, so if anybody's interested, you can talk to me. But it's like Sharon's like, well, what do you do? Like, what does it entail? That's why I'm kind of breaking it down and sharing with you what it is I do, or embarking upon integrating with what I do already. Because with people with trauma, like, all of these things are very prevalent too, like chronic conditions, chronic illness. I work with a lot of people with chronic illness, manifestations in the physical form, which is another thing that brought me to the Tibetan medicine. Because there's a lot of things that start manifesting on the physical realm with people that potentially can be rooted in some traumatic experience. So all of these things. So we do, like, I do something called kunye, which is the Tibetan healing massage forms. And they incorporate a large modality of things. So depending on your typology, then it is administered in that way, right? So whether it is anxiety or anger or like you're feeling lethargic and depression, we try to figure out what the root of it is and find the things that might support you to come back into balance with that. Being that at this point most of my clients are in the States, like, you know, it's interesting. Like there's some things that I do online, some things I can't. It's like limited, right? So anyhow, that's what I do. There's the herbal medicine component, which I'm really into. I've done a lot of the herbs and the medicines, and I feel like they are super effective based on my experience. So I plan to have those capabilities too. So I'm in contact with my people who are in Nepal and the Tibetan practitioners. So I would like to be of service in the community, also keep myself afloat and see how it goes, and also to Costa Rican community, people who may not have the means if they need it, to whatever extent I feel ethically and like that I have the capacity to do in a way that I feel comfortable with as I continue to learn and practice. But you know, so in a nutshell, that's what I do. So I'm.
Give us those. There was five. Was it five
Four.
areas? Four areas. Give those again, will you?
So it's like depending on what the condition is. So we work with diet, so nutritional advice, which, you know, I can tell you based on the Tibetan medicine format and what you have available here, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not a nutritionist. I've thought about going into that, but I was like, I'm interested in more the broader emotion, different realms.
Okay.
So diet based on basic principles, you know, but if you have like a clinical thing, yeah, I might get into like different aspects of it, right? So diet, lifestyle is another one.
Okay.
So how to support people with what their lifestyle is like, right? So what's your balance or imbalance in your lifestyle, right? So we look at that, break it down. What could be adjusted a little bit? What might be of benefit to a person like you based on your typology, based on an intake and questions that we do, like an interview, and then I kind of figure it out. We figure it out together, and then we go from there. The next one is external therapies, right? So external therapies are things like all the different forms of massage. So I work with hot stones, I work with oils, not oils, salt, compress, this kind of thing. Cold, depending on your condition. And they're therapeutic too, and we work with points. Okay, and the point system is very specific to Tibetan medicine. And it doesn't go against like Chinese medicine points or like Ayurvedic Marma points, but it's its own system of points. And then and then things like bloodletting, which I'm going to not do that yet. I need to get more training in that. I don't feel comfortable doing bloodletting yet, even though I did one course in it, but I'm holding off on that personally. And then cupping, so I do cupping for people.
What is that?
Cupping is like using suction, and it just works mainly, it's like working with like the lymphatic system in some ways, but it draws up things if there's things to be drawn out. And then what else?
Well, so you did 3 of the 4.
No, I've done all of it.
No. So what's the 4th?
So the 4th one,
Yeah.
so the external therapies, moxibustion, it includes like hot, like burning and stuff, things not on your skin, but moxibustion. And then the 4th one is, what did I say? External therapies,
Diet.
Nutrition.
diet,
Lifestyle.
external therapies, and then, oh my goodness.
That's all right.
Give me a minute.
I stumped the doctor.
Yeah, I was like,
Sorry.
it was like in
You-
my,
you said-
I
you
said
said
it
them so
already, but I'm
easily
trying to
at the
think which one
beginning.
I forgot. Yeah.
Oh,
Diet, lifestyle, external therapy. Did I say diet, lifestyle, external therapy?
go
Oh my
on,
gosh.
and we'll come back
It'll
to
come
you
to
and
you.
you'll yell, Eureka!
Herbal.
I got it.
Herbal, thank you. Oh my
There,
gosh.
see?
There you go. Then.
The herbal medicine. So then there's medicine. So it could be in the film of herbal pills. It could be decoctions and powders. So again, that depends on your conditions, and then it's administered differently based on your conditions, right? So those are the 4 main areas of it.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So are you,
So you're trained in Tibetan. So do you feel you need to bring in certain herbs from Tibet?
Yes, some, but
Some.
but so like my doctor, my teacher, Dr. Nita, is very big on trying to find, because it's all about interconnection of the elements, and it's about ecology and taking care of the world that you're living in also. So it's like we also want to make sure people in those mountainous regions have the medicine for their own people, without it being all extracted, and so to the level that we can, we try to substitute to whatever thing is in the local area that can potentially perform the same action. So all of that is into consideration. So
Okay. Other questions? Sandy.
Can you explain the connection between what you're doing? Is it Ayurveda and medicine?
yeah, so Tibetan medicine, and then like my teacher is like kind of like he's connected to like the medicine Buddha, like that lineage. So it's all from texts, unbroken, like passed down over time. And at the time that Tibetan medicine was kind of flourishing and forming, it was also this interconnection of cultures, right? So doctors from India, doctors from Persia, Iran, doctors from Tibet, from China. They were all kind of hanging out together, and they would spend time traveling, and they would spend time together, and they would exchange their informations with one another. And so Tibetan medicine is probably very similar, 50%-ish, 40% similar to Ayurveda. Like the principles are similar, but then it's different. It's got its own thing. And Greek medicine as well. I forgot. So it's kind of like a combo of like Greek, Persian, Ayurvedic, Chinese, and its own. So it's pretty cool in that way. Yeah. Not so much. But in the Greek sense of homeopathic medicine, because I think with Greece, like some of that stuff was maybe happening. So yeah, with the humors and everything, like it's kind of the similar. Any other questions?
How can people, if people are interested in some of these things, how would they do this with you?
They can just send me a WhatsApp message.
Okay.
And Sharon has been gracious to say, like, there's space here, we can potentially.
I'll put it on the next calendar.
Yeah, like if you want to do any
Great.
body treatments or
And I encourage us as a Sangha to support people like Oramae who come to the community, who have something to share, and that we support them.
Uh-huh.
So I
Yeah.
encourage that.
Yeah.
And also in how we
Vice
talk
versa.
about this with people who don't come to the Dharma group, who are in some kind of dis-ease.
Yeah.
These are great resources.
Yeah. I'm here to support folks. My intention is to be a part of this community, and and I go back and forth a little bit. Last year was a lot because I was finishing my program, but I'm going back and forth occasionally because I learn stuff too, and then I continue. I'm always learning. Like there's always that happening. So if I can be of support, let me know.
I certainly can do that. I have a question.
Okay.
Which is kind of different. I have always loved the blue Buddha. Is that not the medicine Buddha?
That's medicine Buddha.
The medicine Buddha who is blue. And he's beautiful. And why is he blue?
Well,
I've never known. Why is he
blue?
Yeah, why is he blue?
Yeah, lapis blue. So when you do the prayers, well, I've heard different things. So like the lineage of Yutok says, like Yutok was one of the manifestations of medicine Buddha, and the color turquoise too. So when you're doing your prayers to medicine Buddha, like every morning, I have my set of prayers that I have to do. That's part of my as to be this kind of practice. Like this is what I do. So it's the medicine blue Buddha. I don't know the exact reason why they've made him blue. Blue is the color of space, so it's the holder of all the elements. That can be one thing. One of the medicine Buddhas you took, which is the lineage I'm a part of, is, even though we're non-sectarian, but he used to have like a turquoise roof apparently on his house. So one of the things, because it's like the lapis blue.
Who had the blue roof?
That was like his roof of the house was like a turquoise roof.
He said who?
Medicine
He said
Buddha.
who?
The medicine, like you took.
Buddha.
So I'm getting ahead. Like, so you took was one of the manifestations of medicine Buddha, who was a real historical figure, medicine doctor that lived back in the day in like the 9th or 10th century, and then who like brought the texts and stuff like that, and you know, all of this. So it's just like, you know, it's like any of the, when you're doing any of the visualizations and stuff, when you're if you're, you know, doing this kind of practice, so like the visualization is like in all of the different Buddhas have different forms. So when you're doing the visualization, you're doing that, so you can visualize yourself as, you know, blue or white or red, depending on what you're doing, right?
Who's the red Buddha?
Well, that's like Vajrayogini, Vajravarahi, like that's if you're this is if you're a Vajrayana practitioner. It's not like other Buddhist practices are doing this necessarily. So that's my practice. So the red ones are that, and yeah.
Oh, I wanted to say the Lama, he explained the blue Buddha at our last retreat, but I forgot.
Yeah.
But we can ask him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can ask Lama.
Yeah.
But because we were talking about all the different, and
Yeah.
so he gave the short thing on the blue one, but I don't remember.
Yeah, that's
So
like the
we can
medicine
ask him.
Buddha. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's also like connected potentially to the medicine Buddha families, right? But like the blue is in general, like that's like the medicine Buddha. That's like the healing space. The element of space is connected to the blue. So maybe it's because it holds all the elements as well.
Well, I think when you live by color therapy, the different colors have a different frequency. And when this is a medicine Buddha, this has to be a frequency who penetrates our body very strong because it's medicine.
Yeah.
Because there is a red Buddha and the blue Buddha, and because the frequencies and the colors and the visualization, what we have to do, there is in this month in another frequency, right? And then it is healing.
Yeah. Yeah, and that could be like you could apply that, but like according to like to the tradition, like the, you know, it's like the light, right? So it's all connected to the elements, and when like the blue medicine Buddha resides at the heart. So the blue color is at the heart chakra energetically. Right? And that's where you're sending like the healing out is blue light. Or to yourself, blue light or out. Right?
Thank you,
welcome.
Oramae. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Talk to Oramae if you
If we had a consultation with you, how long should we allow? And do you make house calls?
I would say like hour and a half, kind of be
And do you make house
Just to kind of go get a general.
Yeah, like if you want to do like urine sample and, but if you want to do a consultation, like hour and a half.
Okay.
Very expensive.
Huh?
How expensive are you?
How expensive am I?
You talk with her privately. Talk with her privately.
We'll talk about it.
I'm setting this up while I have a chance here.
Well, talk with her
Never
afterwards,
mind.
Ruthie.
Yeah.
Forget
What is it?
Sliding scale.
Sliding scale.
Yes.
Okay, good,
yes.
thank you.
Yeah.
That's all I need to know.
Yeah.
If you work in Costa Rica, you have to work on a sliding scale.
Right. Yeah. Even in the States, I've always worked sliding scale, but I've also learned I need my own means supported too.
You do.
So.
And you're an expert, and you're trained.
That's right.
Absolutely.
So.
You didn't study
But
for
yes,
4
I
years
want it
for
to be
nothing.
accessible too.
Yeah.
And who knows? Like the forms of doesn't have to be necessary. You know, like there's different forms.
Yeah.
But I have to do my work. If I can't, I need to do it. Otherwise, it doesn't do anything to just be inside here. You know? Yeah.
Ruthie, you want to lead us in loving kindness meditation
I
to
do.
end? Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Oramae. To both of you. Yay! I bet there's some other people in here that we don't know about too, that have done some wonderful things along the way. Come forward and tell us your story. All right, loving kindness, we all know what it is. So take a moment and stretch and just, get ready to go within. In mindfulness of breathing, deep breath or two. A sigh. Close your eyes. Bring yourself to mind and to yourself. Say, may I be well. May no harm come to me. May I live with ease, calm, and peaceful. May I be happy. Take another deep breath. Smile to yourself. Bring to mind someone you love with all your heart. See his or her face. Smile to them and say, may you be well. May no harm come to you. May you live with ease, calm and peaceful. Oh, may you be happy. Again, a deep breath or two. Smile and move out a little farther to someone who is neutral in your life. You're familiar with them, but you don't know them in any deep sort of way. You may not even know their name, in which case just address them as friends. So, bring this person to mind. See them as best you can bring them up. Smile to them and say, may you be well. May no harm come to you. May you live with ease, calm and peaceful. May you be happy. Another deep breath. And we move on to someone with whom we are in conflict or have been in the past in conflict. But our loving kindness has moved us away from that. So now we think of anyone in conflict and we say, may you be well. May no harm come to you.
Speak up, Ruthie, please.
May no harm come to you. May you live with ease, calm and peaceful. May you be happy. Smile to me. Feel the relief of peace and calm where there was conflict. And now we go the farthest rung out, the farthest circle out, to all sentient beings. And because the heart is where we can embrace everything we say, may all beings everywhere, on this plane and all other planes, do well. May all beings everywhere be safe. May all beings everywhere be free from suffering. May all beings everywhere be happy. Sit with this for a breath, or two, or three. Then release your hands. Open your eyes. And if we have time, I would like Jeff to give you his version, because I think it's beautiful. And then someday we'll have everybody give us their version. This is a very private meditation. It's self-guided. Okay. Jeff, that time?
So I'm going to do this a little different today. So we're going to do 3 groupings instead of 5. Yourself, the people of your life, which includes the people that you love, are neutral, are negative, or you're struggling with, and then the whole world as the 3rd group.
Okay.
These are the 8 qualities that came to me as I developed this loving kindness meditation for myself. So think about yourself. Smile at yourself. I wish you well and health. I wish you peace inside and out. I wish you honesty and integrity. I wish you happiness and love. Now we're going to go to a cluster of people, the people of your life, who you know, who you meet, who you struggle with. Put them all together and wish them the same 8 qualities. I wish you well and health. I wish you peace inside and out. I wish you honesty and integrity, happiness and love. And we actually now go to a bigger group. From you to the people that you are acquainted with, to people that you're not acquainted with, to the whole world, to everyone, all living beings, on this plane and all other planes. And we offer to each the same 8 qualities. I wish you all well and health, peace inside and out, honesty and integrity, happiness and love.
Well, now, for ourselves and all others with whom we are connected and inner beings, we will leave here and go forth this week, and we will do it. It's here.
Go in peace. Go making peace. Living gently. Loving mightily.